What's up guys, Noel here at KLM Race. Today I'm going to talk about our A90, A91 turbo kit. We do have a 6-port and 2-port option along with a 340 turbo kit option. The 340 kit comes with a few different things that we'll talk about today as well. Alright, to start we'll talk about the turbo manifold. It's got the 6-port and the 2-port. We spent a lot of time getting this manifold packed and everything packed in tight. You'll notice where the wastegate placement is, so it's got good wastegate priority. Also the flange and both wastegates are very close to the T4, so you want to keep the wastegates very close to the turbo along with good flow into the wastegate. So the wastegate priority is very good on this. All the runners are packed very tight in order to leave room for the downpipe. Alright, this is our 2-port manifold. You'll notice this also has good wastegate priority, and the turbo placement is actually the exact same between our 2-port and 6-port manifolds. So the turbos will sit in the exact same place, and then a lot of the other components are the same as well. Alright, let's go ahead and start with what's all included in the kit. We got different turbo options. We got 6466, 6870, and 7275 turbo options. We also have a bigger option that's in the works. We'll kind of keep everyone updated when that's available. It will be with a Sportsman Series turbo. We're going to dive into the hot parts that come with the kit. We got a 3.5 downpipe. Does come with 2 spots for the O2 sensors, flex session, and then it slips into the factory exhaust as well. For the Sportsman kit, we will have a 4-inch that's sized properly for the Sportsman large frame turbos. We'll talk about that more in the future. The dump tubes are slightly different between the 2-port and 6-port. On the 6-port, the wastegate comes from up front and bolts in. They'll kind of sit just like this in the car. It does come with a bracket to bolt together to hold everything in nice and tight. We pair our kits with the TurboSmart wastegates. The 2-port kits come with the 40mm gates, and the 6-port come with 45mm, along with the race-port blow-off valve as well. We do have different color options, but it comes standard with the black. Next, we'll talk about the intercooler piping. The intercooler piping comes standard in wrinkle black. It does include one of our Pro Clamp assemblies in the center of the piping, as well as bolts directly up to the throttle body with the 2-bolt flange here. And also the blow-off valve sits up top where you can still see the blow-off valve. Looks really nicely, fits really nice in this location. We did make one revision recently, and we added another billet end piece to this 90 here on the end of the pipe to really let the customer clamp down the coupler very tight and not worry about the pipe crushing on the end. So this is a solid billet piece that we machine and weld onto the end of the intercooler pipe. That'll give you plenty of rigidity on the end of the pipe. Our 3-inch Pro Clamp assembly does come standard with our kit. It's got a billet sleeve on the inside along with 4 O-rings that's included. So the 4 O-rings go on these ferrule pieces that are already welded into your intercooler piping. And the sleeve slips over the O-ring to give it a good seal, and then the clamp locks it into place and holds everything into place while allowing the pipe to still have some wiggle room. The clamp assembly acts like a coupler. We also have here a stainless heat shield that comes standard with the kit. It works for the 2-port and 6-port, and it bolts right up to the head and fits right between the turbo and the head to kind of keep the heat off the plastic valve cover. It does come with all the fittings and flanges you need. Here we got the feed line along with the fitting that goes in the top of the turbo. The turbo does come with a restrictor that already comes on the turbo. You do not want to remove that restrictor. This fitting will thread right into that. And then the feed line, the 90-degree will go right on top of the turbo, and this fitting will go right into the block. There is also included with the kit a billet fitting that we machine. That is the feed line fitting. This will bolt up to the block as well. Feed line goes directly to that. Makes it very easy to add oil supply to the turbo. Along with a drain flange that comes with the kit as well. We machine these in-house as well. It does have a built-in O-ring that comes in the bottom along with the ported flange to allow the oil to drain from the turbo properly. It is a 10 on this as well. The drain flange does come with all the bolts needed to bolt to the turbo. The feed line comes with all the fittings needed to go from A to B, as well as all the fittings to bolt the sensors to the intercooler piping. You will need to block the coolant system that went to the factory turbos. We do include everything in the kit that you'll need for that. On the back of a block, there'll be a spot to bolt this fitting up to. You'll take all the factory O-rings and slip them right over to the billet fitting and bolt this right up to block off that coolant port on the back of the engine, along with clipping this into one of the factory fittings up front. We can show you more on the car exactly where these pieces go, and this will block off the coolant system from A to B. I've noticed the need for different intercooler piping options with our kit. We do offer an OEM style intercooler piping that will fit CSF and AMS, and then a different intercooler option that will fit EOS intercooler piping that sets the throttle body in a slightly different location. So we have a piping kit that will bolt on directly to the EOS as well. There's a few more features that stand out on our kit. It does allow for you to run a standard fitting off the bottom of the turbo while still clearing the turbo manifold. This allows us not to have to run, we notice other kits running a long stainless tube. Those tubes are likely to crack. We have ran something like that in the past on a race car and have issues with vibration and cracking. This will allow a standard 10AN fitting to bolt up and run right off the bottom of the turbo without having any issues. One thing that we noticed that we did a little bit different than other kits is we didn't modify the compressor housing on the turbo. We didn't want to modify the turbo housing, so you're able to upgrade the housing without modifications needing to be done. Or if you're at the track racing and you have a turbo get damaged for whatever reason, you're able to swap the turbo out without having to have somebody weld and modify the housing. Our current kit will allow you to swap turbos out or upgrade turbos without any issues. One option that's going to be available for our turbo kit is the heat protection package. It'll come with a heat blanket along with heat protecting sleeving that goes over the feed line and drain line and vacuum lines as well. With every kit that you receive, it'll come with a checklist in the box. We keep a copy of it for ourselves as well. Everything gets checked off before being placed in the box. Everything's packaged correctly in order for nothing to get damaged. Every piece to the kit will come in there with a check mark next to it to make sure we have every single piece in each kit. All right, we got our shop A90 here with the whole turbo kit installed. We do have a 6870 on the car. As you can see here, we do have our catch can kit that I can talk more about as well. You'll see how everything fits in here nicely with the blow-off valve. You'll see our clamp assembly there. If you notice here, we've actually machined this fitting that holds the sensor here, and it hides the wires below the factory cover. So we put it in that exact place for the factory harnesses to still reach nicely and cover everything up when it's all installed, so it looks very clean from the top. So you notice this piping bolts right up to the CSF intake manifold, which is similar to the factory placement of the throttle body. On the EOS, the throttle body sits slightly out more because the intake's a whole different design. So we make a whole different intercooler pipe to bolt up to that EOS, and everything still fit properly. As far as our 340i turbo kits, for the most part, everything's pretty much about the same. We do have a different intercooler piping that will come with that kit. Other than that, a lot of things are very similar. As far as supporting mods that we recommend, you will want to upgrade your fuel system. You know, you're going to want to add port injection. We run ID injectors. We got a Visconti Stage 1 fuel pump, and then we have a reflex kit as well from him. We do recommend running a catch can kit as well. This is our KLM catch can. It actually has a bracket and everything that bolts up. It comes with the lines and a fitting that goes to the block as well. We do have the stock engine in the car and stock transmission. We will be upgrading the transmission and kind of pushing the stock motor a little bit further. We do have around 750 horsepower. We're kind of maxing out the trans right now, so we will send the trans off to Pure Drivetrain Solutions. Let us know if you have any further questions about our turbo kit. We will be making a full installation video, pretty much going over the details about, you know, how exactly we like to install things, where each fitting will go, and so on.